Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to English. Today we're going to move on in our fantasy writing unit. So we are no longer reading fantasy stories. Now you are authors and we're writing our own stories. So this is session 3 of our unit, and it's called Planning a Story Idea. So in the first 2 days of this unit, what we worked on was ways to generate ideas about stories, and then we chose a story idea and tried to write long about one different aspect of that story. So it could have been the characters, it could have been the setting, it could have been the message or the lesson that comes through the story. And today we're going to move forward. Now, once those things have been thought through, okay, our next step is to make a plan about how the story will go. So today's goal is to understand that once writers have a story idea full of characters and a world they've started to develop, they take time to plan for how the story will go. And that's what I want to show you today. I want to show you my story and show you what this planning looks like. And you'll see one example from me today, but in reality, what a lot of writers do is write or plan several kind of different ways that their story could go. But what you'll see from me today is just one. Now, to continue this, what I would do is write another one where things happen a little differently. And then I would evaluate which one I think is going to work best. So for you, depending on where you're at in your own story writing process, okay, you might be doing this today in the independent time, or you might be writing long about the setting, the characters, or different parts of the plot. Okay, so I want to show you my story here, and you can see that I've chosen to use a story mountain that we're familiar with. We've looked at this before. I set it up so kind of what you see in blue is how the plot is unfolding, and then in the pen I wrote some things about what's happening inside the character and how they're feeling. So I introduced you to my story idea yesterday, and I told you that my main character, he has lost control or lost feeling from the neck down due to some accident. Okay, and he's really depressed, but he's visited by a bird, right? A bird that has hatched. I think we're going to have the bird hatch somewhere around the North Pole, right? So climate change has caused an ice cap to melt, and this egg that has been preserved in the ice gets some sunshine, and eventually it hatches. And this bird has the ability to give the gift of flight to our main character. So even though he has lost control of his arms and legs, he can't feel anything, he's in a wheelchair, he can fly. And when he's in the air, he regains the ability to use his arms and legs. So that's kind of what's happening in the story. So I have those ideas, but before I sit down and write anything, I'm going to plan out how the story might go. So I'm going to kind of take you through the process I went through when I created this page in my notebook. So up at the top, you'll see that I wrote third person, okay, because I'm going to write this in third person. I want the narrator to, the narrator is going to teach us a lot about the world. So the narrator is going to be able to tell us things that we wouldn't be able to learn through the eyes of just the main character. So that's a choice I'm making. Down at the bottom, you'll see I just put some bullet points for my characters and my setting. So there, I haven't named my main character yet, but the bird, her name is Noro. Noro. Okay, and I chose this name because the gift that Noro gives to the main character kind of has to do with the main character's brain and like turning on the main character's brain. And so I use the word neuro, like neurologist or neurology. It's something related to the brain. So I've got the main character, and I also have a guide in there. And a guide is something that is common in a lot of stories and in different kinds of quests or fantasy stories. And the guide in this story is going to be a janitor at the school our main character attends. And then the setting is modern day on Jeju Island in an international school. So the main character is someone just like you. So my plan here is to start the story with Noro hatching, right? So the place is going to change in the beginning of the story quite a bit. It's going to be very cold, it's icy, it's white, and there will be some kind of earthquake. I haven't figured out how it's going to happen exactly, but I'm going to tell the story of Noro hatching. And the earthquake that kind of shakes Noro's egg into existence, that earthquake, that shake, that tremor is going to be felt all the way on Jeju Island. But the main character, he's not going to feel it because he has lost all feeling in his body. So what I want to do is kind of use the earthquake to, it's going to cause Noro to hatch, and it's also going to let me explain provide some background information about the main character. So I've got that here, and I've got, Noro hatches. This is one, and then I'm going to talk about that. The time and place are going to change a little bit, and I will introduce my character. And then Noro, eventually, he's going to fly. He's going to meet the main character. Haven't thought about how that's going to work exactly, but they're going to meet some way. Maybe Noro comes and pecks on his window. Maybe he meets them at the Hexagon after lunch. We'll see. So the main character will meet Noro, and he'll receive this gift of flight, and he'll be unsure of how to use it or what it's for. And during that uncertainty, he's going to meet the janitor. Okay, now the janitor is going to become his guide and teach him about Noro and his ability to fly and kind of send him on his journey to save the world. So this is what's happening now, and one of the issues a lot of students have when they write these stories is that they start off without planning and then realize that they're writing a trilogy that's 1,000 pages long. Right? Now, I don't want to do that. I want my story to be 1 or 2 pages. So in my head right now, I'm thinking that, my character is going to save the world, but in this story I'm telling now, he's only going to do one thing that may become one of many things he does to save the world. And what I've decided to do is that our character will stop the production or construction of a coal power plant. Okay, because what our character is fighting for is to save the planet, and he's going to do that by stopping the burning of fossil fuels. And he's going to use his powers of flight to stop the construction of a power plant. Right? So, and that's going to be the story. Okay, so that's going to happen here. Okay, then his identity will almost be revealed. And to end the story, we might meet some other people who are secretly fighting the same battle. And at the end of the story, he will join a group, a fellowship that has the mission of saving the world. Okay, and that's my story. So he's not fighting hundreds of battles. This isn't 5 books long. Okay, it's going to be a few pages, and this is what I think will work for a few pages. Okay, so additionally, I'm thinking about what's happening inside the character here. So he's depressed, he feels worthless, right? He used to have control of his body. He was, a normal kid at one point, but he's lost that. So if you've ever been injured, you may know what that feels like, but he's watching everything from the sidelines. He's unable to participate in things at school and do the things that middle school students do. So he's almost lost hope. Okay, but once he meets Noro and the janitor, this starts to change. He learns how to use his power. He has a plan. He becomes motivated, and he is ready to save the world. Okay. Later in the story, he's going to have some difficulty dealing with his responsibility. Okay, this is a normal thing, I think, for heroes. You may know that line from Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. So that's kind of what I was thinking of here, as he really learns about who he is and what the future holds for him. And then at the end, he's going to find some comfort, and this story will end with him feeling pretty comfortable and happy that he's found some other people who share the same kind of secret and have the same goals. All right, so this is just one possible story arc, and if I were to continue, I'd make another one, and maybe I would adjust when the characters meet, or which part of the story comes first. But for now, I'm gonna stick with this. And what I'd like to see you do today or tomorrow, or sorry, today or Monday in your notebook, is have something like this. So when you actually sit down and write, you're following a path that you've planned and not going in random directions, making no sense, and writing 10 pages. Okay, because we don't want that to happen. Okay, so good luck today, and I will see you in a conference. Bye-bye.